I made a few mistakes drafting this laptop bag, and they completely changed the way how it works. So in this video, I'll show you how to draft it properly from scratch. This is a custom laptop bag pattern that I created for my 14-inch laptop. It comes with several zip pockets at the front, one at the back. It is fully lined and structured. I'm going to walk you through the exact process that I did to draft this laptop bag, including all the mistakes, so you can draft the laptop bag that works for you. This pattern draft is best suited for confident beginners, or if you have had some experience before. But if you're comfortable working with seam allowances and zips, then you'll be absolutely fine. You don't need anything complicated to draft this pattern. I am only using an A2 sheet of paper, a pencil and a grading ruler. A grading ruler is an optional, but it will help you a lot. However, if you don't have it, then a set square ruler and a long ruler will suffice. Start by measuring your laptop. You need 3 dimensions. You need the width of the laptop, the height of the laptop, and the depth of your laptop. Make sure you're actually measuring your laptop instead of relying on manufacturing specification. The manufacturing specification might vary slightly from what you physically have on your laptop. To all of those measurements, you will need to add an ease. If it's made exactly to the measurements, you will struggle to fit the laptop into it because the fabric, the padding and the seams will take some of the space away. I am adding 2.5 centimeters ease to the width and the height of the laptop, and I am adding 1.5 centimeters to the depth of the laptop. In retrospect, I wish I had written down all of the steps that I need to make this pattern drafting a lot easier. So I turn my insights into a printable worksheet that you can download and follow along. It will prompt you exactly what you need to consider at each stage when you're drafting your own laptop bag. We'll start by drafting a rectangle that represents the width and the height of your laptop with added ease. Don't add seam allowances yet at this stage because we will turn this pattern into smaller pieces later. I like to round the corners at this stage, but I still cut my pattern pieces square. It just makes everything easier to line up later. The easiest pattern that we'll draft first is the back pattern piece. To draft the zip pocket, measure 5 centimeters from the top of the rectangle that you drafted in the previous step, then square across to both sides of the rectangle. Next, cut along this line. Now trace each piece separately and leave some space for seam allowance. When you're working with zips, you need to account for the zip width. For example, for 3 centimeters wide zip, when you're using 1 centimeter seam allowance, it will leave 1 centimeter of the zip teeth exposed. For that, we need to adjust the pattern pieces, otherwise the laptop bag will not match up properly. I am using 3 centimeters wide zip, and instead of changing the pattern size, I'm actually going to reduce the seam allowance on the zip edge. For most of the pattern piece, I am using 1 centimeter seam allowance, but I need to reduce it where the pattern pieces meet the zip. I am reducing the seam allowance to 0.5 centimeter. Add 1 centimeter seam allowance on all of the other edges of both pattern pieces. Once you added those, you can cut out the pattern. For the front panel piece, I'm piecing back together the original pattern, then I'm splitting it in 2 parts vertically. The right hand side is going to be smaller, that's going to accommodate my phone. I am using calculator as a visual guide to see how wide that pocket piece needs to be because I'm using my phone to record this video. The left hand side, which is larger, is going to be used for my sandwiches. Once the line has been drafted, you need to cut along this line to separate the pattern pieces. This has created 4 individual pattern pieces, which you will need to trace and add seam allowance. You need to use exactly the same methods as you did before, where you adjusted the edges that meet the zip. Originally, I thought I could create 2 separate zip pockets for the front to meet along this vertical line. However, I soon realized that this will add a lot of bulk on this horizontal line where the zip ends meet, because zips are quite bulky and I would struggle to top stitch. So instead, I made a conscious decision that when I will sew the laptop bag together, I will only use 1 zip with 2 zip pulls. This will also provide a lot cleaner finish. Your laptop bag will also need a lining. For the pattern piece, you can either redraw the full rectangle that we started with, or you can piece all 4 pieces back together. I decided to redraft the whole pattern piece to have it a little bit smoother and cleaner. I'm also planning to include a lining pocket. For that, I made a placement mark, which is 5 centimeters from the top of the lining pattern. I'm using my hand as a guide to decide how wide the pocket piece should be. At this stage, I had not decided whether I'm going to have a patch pocket or a welt pocket, so I made notes for both of them. So for the patch pockets, I will need exactly desired final measurements plus the seam allowance. But for the welt pocket, pattern piece should be a lot wider than the pocket opening, and it needs to be at least twice the height of the desired pocket depth. With those pattern pieces completed, we are probably now into the most important part of the laptop bag pattern. We need to draft a pattern piece for the gusset. The gusset will add the depth to your laptop bag. Currently, as it's drafted, it's fairly two-dimensional, but we need to increase the width of it so I can fit in more items if I need to, like a notepad or extra sandwiches. I'm not trying to say that I'm Paddington, but I do like my sandwiches. To start the measurements for the gusset, we need to first locate the zips for the outside of the bag. We're making all the measurements on the lining piece because the lining piece is the biggest pattern piece and represents the outside as well as the inside of the bag. From the top of the lining piece, measure 7 centimeters. And mark a line on both sides. This is where your zip will start and end. We're going to create 2 gusset pieces. One is a lower one, that will be the bottom of your bag, and the top gusset will be split in 2. Let's start with the lower gusset. You need to measure from one location of the zip to the other location of the zip along the bottom edge of your lining piece. Make sure that you do measure along the curved line rather than the rectangle that includes the seam allowance. You do need to measure along the seam line. If you measured along the edge of your pattern, the gusset is going to be too long. My lower gusset ended up being 70 centimeters long, and with my previous measurements where I measured the depth of the laptop and added the ease to it, I know that my gusset needs to be 4 centimeters wide. To those measurements, I then added seam allowance. My 70 by 4 centimeter gusset now is 72 by 6 centimeters. Because this is quite a straightforward rectangle, instead of drafting a separate pattern piece, I'm just writing on my lining piece the dimensions that I need to cut when I'm going to cut the fabric for the gusset. Then you need to measure the dimensions for the upper gusset exactly the same way, but instead of measuring along the bottom of the bag, you're now going to measure along the top of the bag. Then you can draft a rectangle that is exactly the same length as the upper gusset measurement, and it has to be exactly the same width as your lower gusset. Once you have created this rectangle for the upper gusset, you need to split it in half lengthwise because it will have zip, and this means that you need to reduce the width of the half of that upper gusset piece by the amount of the exposed zip teeth. Essentially, it's exactly the same approach as what you did for the outside pocket pieces. So you can either adjust the pattern piece or you can reduce the seam allowance. And then you need to include a seam allowance on all the other edges. And if you're using the same seam allowance like me, then it's 1 centimeters on short edges, 1 centimeter on the long edge, and the edge that will have a zip, it will have half a centimeter. I am not drafting the pattern piece for this one as well. I worked it out in my head and wrote a note on my lining piece that I need to cut exact measurements for this upper gusset. However, if you do get confused, my blog post lists out exact steps that you need to take and I will also later provide a downloadable pattern that you can just download it and see what I've done there. Lastly, we need to add the handles and a strap. For the handles and strap, I based mine on the bag I already own. The strap I measured to be 135 centimeters long, and the pattern piece for the handles are going to be 38 centimeters by 5 centimeters. It is important that you match your strap width with your hardware. My original bag had 5 centimeter hardware, but for this laptop bag I only have half the width. So the strap pattern is basic rectangle of 135 centimeters times 5 centimeters. I also made note that I will need zip ends and D-ring tabs. They are small pieces, and they seem minor, but they're going to have a huge impact on how the bag looks like in the end. The zip tabs will reduce the bulk. The widths of the zip tabs are going to be your exact widths of the zip, and the length of the zip should be at least 6 centimeters long to allow to add the length to the end of the zip. The D-ring tabs must be twice the width of your D-ring hardware, and it needs to be 9 centimeters long. The last step that you are left to do is to make sure that the pattern actually fits for your laptop, that you haven't made a mistake in measuring. To do that, place your lining piece on the table and put a laptop over it. If it fits within the lining piece, you're good to go. However, if your laptop bag is bigger, then you need to reassess how you have measured the laptop and how you have drafted your laptop bag pattern pieces. Once you have completed the pattern piece, you can get onto the sewing. I will have a separate video showing each step that you need to take to create a laptop bag. However, the basic steps are put the pocket pieces together, attach the gussets and assemble the whole bag. There were a few challenges along the way when I was drafting the laptop bag. The biggest one was figuring out the placement of the pockets, especially when it comes to the zip. And this is where I mentioned earlier that I thought I could put together 2 zips and sew them together, like, you know, where one zip ends, that next one starts, but it doesn't work quite like that. I was also considering including zip ends for that area. However, I also realized that it's not going to work that well either, because it will still have a bulk and it will reduce the pocket opening. The second mistake that I made was to draft these straps based on my existing laptop bag without considering that I actually have a different hardware. Whenever you're drafting these straps, make sure that you have the right hardware. There's nothing wrong using exact measurements using exact laptop measurements that you already have. However, if your hardware is narrower or wider, a strap that doesn't fit with the hardware will look really odd. And the last challenge that I had was figuring out the dimensions of the upper gusset. It wasn't the difficulty of splitting the gusset in half lengthways, it was more to consider the inclusion of the zip width. If you keep all of those challenges that I came across in mind when you're drafting your pattern piece, then you should be all right and will not have the same challenges that I had. If you want to make this process easier, you can download my free worksheet. It walks you through all the measurements step by step. And in my next video, I'll show you exactly how to sew this bag together.